It's with great personal pleasure to introduce the first of our 3 inductees to the Faculty and Staff Hall of Fame. Mr. Jim Dow was the Assistant Superintendent for the Fairview Park Schools from the fall of 1966 until July of 1988. For 22 years, he was the right-hand man to Dr. Frank Barr and Dr. John Babel, the district superintendents during Jim's tenure. Jim was actually the first person I interviewed with when I applied for a teaching position in the Fairview Park Schools. 2 things stood out to me in that first meeting, and they became 2 of the most endearing qualities that I remember about this extraordinary educator. First was Jim's effusive personality that was evident at the time you met him when he said, "Hello and welcome to the Fairview Park Schools. I'm Jim Dow." He was enthusiastic about everything that Fairview had to offer a new teacher, and he also was knowledgeable about every aspect of the Fairview Park Schools. But he also was that knowledgeable about educational programs and policies throughout the state, and especially in the Cleveland metropolitan area. And during the interview, Jim even knew that my father, who was an administrator in the Lakewood City Schools, was an Ohio University alumni. Jim had received his BA in secondary education and his master's in educational administration from Ohio University, just as my father did. Jim always did his homework on prospective Fairview Park employees. The second thing I remember about Jim was all the St. Louis Cardinals baseball memorabilia that he had in his office, especially the little plastic batting statue and baseball cards and photos of Stan Musial. Jim was a true baseball fan, but he absolutely loved Stan the man and never tired of telling stories about that baseball Hall of Famer. After graduating from Ohio University in 1958, Jim traveled just north of Athens to teach junior high school social studies in the Logan Hocking City Schools. After just 2 years of teaching, Jim took on his first principalship at East Elementary School in the Logan School District. And after that 1 year, he left Southern Ohio to become principal at Taft Elementary School in Ashland, Ohio. After that year, Jim decided to return to the Logan schools as their director of elementary education. And he also concurrently enrolled and completed his master's degree in educational administration at Ohio University. After 3 years as the director of elementary education, Mr. Dow left Logan, Ohio, and accepted a job with the Fairview Park City Schools as their assistant superintendent. Jim would hold this position, as we said, for the next 22 years. And over that time, Jim became one of the most well-known central office administrators in the state of Ohio. He attended and presented at statewide, regional, and national education conferences. He consulted with other school districts about their curriculum development, their staff development, and their district-wide communication. As Fairview's assistant superintendent, Jim was a traditionalist, but also he was an innovator and a jack of all trades. Primarily, he was in charge of curriculum development. But in this role, he also sought ways to expand the scope of how curriculum goals and standards are established, how they are communicated, and how they are sold to the teaching staff. Jim's genius was knowing in advance what the needs of the district were, or what those needs might be, and then finding ways to meet those needs. I was directly impacted by Jim's creative and student-centered thinking, because it was his idea to expand the services of the Fairview Counseling Department to the elementary school level. He and Dr. Barr then eventually gave me the opportunity to develop the elementary counseling program, which at the time was one of only 3 on the west side of Cleveland in the West Shore area. and it became a program that I served in as an elementary school counselor for 35 years. Jim Dow's advocacy for children also led to the creation and development of what has now become the Fairview Park Early Childhood Education Center. What started out as a district daycare center under the direction of Miss Peg Fischel grew into a state-recognized model for early childhood education, one that is still an important part of our school district today. Jim has been gone now for over 10 years, but his enduring legacy lives on in the Fairview Park City Schools in very large and small ways. Stan the man may have been Jim's hero, but Jim Dow, the educator, was one of my heroes in this district and in my entire career in education. And it is a deserving honor that Mr. Jim Dow is inducted into the Faculty and Staff Hall of Fame. And here is a plaque that will reflect this honor and be a symbol of his contributions to the Fairview schools for his surviving family members to see and to honor. Congratulations to the Dow family.